Hi guys, I'm glad you're tuning into this week's episode of What's New in the DeFi space, where I share with you the hottest and latest DeFi news so that you can stay up to date in the market, making sure that you make the best decisions. And yeah, in this video, we've got a lot of juicy content. I'll be sharing with you a new sexy on-chain metrics dashboard, some news about Curve plus ZK Sync Layer 2 scaling solution, as well as Wormhole Solana Ethereum bridge, and an interesting thing that's been happening on Ethereum that you might not be aware of, where you could potentially be losing money if you don't pay attention to it. So I'll be diving into a brief overview of what front runners are on Ethereum and how you could be losing money on that. And last but not least, make sure you wait until the end of the video where I share a super exciting chart that I'm sure you've already seen before, but it's applied then to the Ethereum price chart. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. But before that, my name is Kieran and I'll be your guide on your DeFi adventure, making sure that you are ready, safe, and making the best decisions possible to bring you closer to your goals of financial independence. The first thing I'd like to share with you is a new dashboard by theblockcrypto.com. I'll link it down below so you can check it out in peace. And here you've got many different graphs and data that you can look at that might hopefully help you make better decisions on what the future of different projects might be. So especially in the DeFi space, everything is so volatile. It's good to have a long perspective outlook on how things are progressing. So Ethereum, here you can see the transactions on the Ethereum network. As you can see, in this growth is exponential. Of course, we've got a little bit of a pullback on the daily transactions, but it's still good. We haven't peaked the 2017 ICO bubble, but I believe in a few months we'll definitely manage to break that resistance lines of transactions. And if you go down below, you've got many interesting metrics. So for example, the transactions on the Ethereum network monthly, the Ethereum adjusted on-chain volume daily, and here we're getting a lot more traction, and this is good. This is definitely a good sign. That means a lot more people are discovering the DeFi applications, using them, and sending transactions and smart contract calls on Ethereum. And if you go down below, we've got some super interesting visualizations that show the flow of the Ethereum transactions on the blockchain. So here you've got the transactions between different centralized exchanges, you've got the addresses, you've got contracts, dApps, miners, and I think this is good. It would be fun to have something like this as a wallpaper. You can also compare, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum metrics. You can look at the different exchanges. You can also look at the different markets, such as spot, futures, options. It's good to see what other people are doing in the space. And it's also good to see how the space is progressing, because very often, many people just focus about the current price. If the price is going up, the price is going down, and not looking at the big picture of how it's growing. And I think that's very important, especially for long-term investments, making sure that you also know what larger players in the space are doing. For example, Grayscale, how they're accumulating, they have already 2% of the total circulating supply of Ethereum in total. I mean, there's always more Ethereum being generated, but the current circulating supply, they own around 2% of that. All right, so this is definitely interesting. Now, of course, you've already witnessed the super high fees on the Ethereum blockchain when sending transactions, interacting with dApps, yield farming applications, or whatever. And you'll be paying $5 per transaction, $10 or $20 for a smart contract execution. It's definitely something that is painful, especially if you're only transacting with a few $100s. It's going to be eating into your profits. And Layer 2 scaling solutions is definitely something that is going to offer a lot of relief. And that is why Coinbase is implementing support for optimistic Ethereum on Coinbase. So optimistic has received a lot of hype recently because it's a very promising scaling effort. So scaling Ethereum is a monumental endeavor, only possible as a full community effort. Everyone has to work together, and optimistic Ethereum allows it's basically a protocol which can support massive scale. And Vitalik is super happy about it. He sees that Layer 2 is going to be the main relief for the Ethereum blockchain until the Ethereum 2.0 update can actually happen. So Coinbase, they're excited to announce that the Coinbase wallet is natively integrated then with the optimistic Ethereum testnet. Coinbase wallet is Coinbase non-custodial wallet, and tab browser users will be able to view their balances, send transactions safely, and securely using the Coinbase wallet. So it's still in the testnet. However, what that will hopefully allow is for transaction and smart contract interactions that are running on Coinbase to happen with a much lower fee and with increased scalability. Definitely a good thing. There are many other dApps such as Synthetic that is also working with Optimism Ethereum. Very promising. So let's continue with layer 2 scaling solutions, as that's definitely one of the hottest topics at the moment. So Curve plus ZK Sync, layer 2, Ethereum's first user-defined ZK rollup, smart contracts. So definitely a mouthful. And it's super interesting because at the moment, smart contracts haven't been integrated into rollups. It wasn't possible, it was very difficult, and this now has been made possible. So Curve and Meta Labs team are excited to announce big steps towards scaling Ethereum in a secure and decentralized way. Today we're unveiling ZK Sync layer 2 smart contracts testnet with Curve Finance as the first resident dApp. So you can try out the demo if you want. I'll link it down below. And this is actually super important. So ZK rollups, if you're not aware of what they are extremely secure, even with a single validator, as they rely on pure math. And they also allow for a lot of privacy as well as scalability. And now smart contracts could be integrated into a zero knowledge rollup, which is super important, especially if you might want to send a smart contract or have a smart contract that is not publicly visible. Maybe companies want to have their business knowledge private, and they want to have a dApp where the smart contract is not visible to everyone, to maybe hide their business secrets or another reason. And now it's possible to do this, and Meta Labs introduced the Zinc programming languages and snark-friendly Zinc VM and implemented recursive Plonk proof verification for Ethereum. And the combination of these technologies will power smart contracts and ZK Sync. So these will be private, as well as offer a lot higher scalability to the users when they're using the decentralized applications. Now, Wormhole Solana Ethereum Bridge. There's going to be a hackathon. If you're a programmer, you might consider signing up for that. So this is definitely super exciting. And Wormhole allows existing projects, platforms, and communities to move tokenized assets seamlessly across blockchains to benefit from Solana's high speed and low cost. And here's a depiction of how this wormhole flow could look like. So if you've got the user who would lock up the ERC20, you're going to have the bridge. The validators will be monitoring the bridge where the users will be locking up the tokens, and these are locked here, and the tokens then get minted into in the wormhole contract, and these tokens then get sent to the user. So this would be the if the user sends from the Ethereum blockchain to the Solana one. And if you want to do it another way around, then these tokens get burnt in the wormhole contract after the user sends these tokens. The validator watches for burns, and when something's burned, then the bridge unlocks the tokens and the user gets back the ERC20 tokens. Definitely very interesting. I always love use cases, and this is one I think is definitely very useful. Luxury watchmaker Breitling issues digital certificates on the Ethereum blockchain. So as many people are aware, I mean, in watchmaking, they are played with counterfeits. And this will hopefully ensure the authenticity of the luxury watches Breitling. Instead of relying on physical certificates, the watchmaker gives you a unique digital passport that certifies the origin of the watch. I mean, this is one of the best use cases, in my opinion, because these physical certificates, they can be faked so easily. And having maybe a NFT, a non-fungible token, to prove that the watch that you're owning is authentic, well, that's will definitely add a lot more value, sales value, when you're trying to resell your Breitling watch on the market. You will be able to send these certificates along with the watch to someone else that is the new owner. So definitely really good that they're doing this, and also super excited that they're using the Ethereum blockchain. They see the benefits for their customers, and the best way for them to add additional value for their customers is by using the Ethereum blockchain. Like I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, Grayscale has been doing a lot. While everybody has been focused on our Bitcoin accumulation, the Grayscale Ethereum Trust now holds over 2% of all ETH in circulation, and that's a massive amount. And I don't think they're stopping their accumulation. I think they're just going to continue. They're going to continue buying as long as the prices are pretty low in regards to what they could be, especially as soon as Ethereum 2.0 is launched and the scalability issues are addressed. Talking about Ethereum 2.0, I think this is great if you're Ethereum enthusiast and you're also thinking about becoming a validator. I've made a lot of how to become a validator videos, especially with using Prysm from Prismatic Labs, and now recently they just released an ETH2 client web interface. So this will definitely make it a lot easier to launch your validator on your server or on your computer by using their new launch script and user interface. So I won't go into this in too much detail. I might make a video. I'll see about that. If there's enough demand. Thing about this new user interface, it will help you monitor your beacon node and your validator, as well as give you a lot of useful commands to manage your validator keys, exporting the keys, and a lot more. You'll see the performance as well as if you're being slashed and so on. And hopefully, I hope in the future they also implement some kind of alert system that would inform you should your validator go offline or even be slashed. So I'll link this also down below. You can check out the beta version of this web user interface, allowing you to have a much more straightforward process of installing your validator and beacon node on your system. So it's really good. It's got a lot of features, ability to create new HD wallet from the mnemonic and generate validator accounts from seed, ability to import key stores from an external source, ability to monitor your gains and losses for your validator, view chain data such as the current sync slot for your beacon chain, ability to view your validator account, sort them, view them in Beacon Chain Explorer. So there's a lot of functionality, and yeah, if there's enough demand, I'll make a video about it. Let's continue. This is something you have to pay attention to. It's not what I talked about at the beginning of the video about losing money, but this is also one way that you can lose money if you don't pay enough attention. And smart contracts can allow for anyone to interact with your wallet. And this is something that you have to keep in mind, especially when you're approving smart contracts, especially from tokens that you don't really know who created the token, and you don't really know if they've got your best intentions in mind. And the example here is an unfortunate example that happened to many DeFi users that were interacting with Unicats. And I'm not going to go through the whole document, but the gist of what happened is different users interested in staking tokens on the Unicat platform, they had to approve these tokens, and then they put their tokens into the liquidity pool and left it there. And the developer decided he wasn't really interested anymore in being a developer for that platform, and he pulled the rug under them. That means he drained the whole liquidity pools of the funds, which left the investors dry. However, we've got John, who managed to take his liquidity out of the pool before that happens, and he thought he was safe. However, little did he know is that he approved the Unicat smart contract. After everyone had put the liquidity into the Unicat's pool, well, John wasn't really too happy about it, and he removed the liquidity before anything happened. And then a few days later, the dev decided to pull the rug under all of the investors' feet. And of course, John thought, well, he got lucky. His tokens are safe in his own wallet. Little did he know that when he approved the Unicat's smart contract, there was a small function that he didn't actually look at. I mean, whoever looks at smart contracts when they approve different ERC20 tokens or deciding to provide liquidity into a liquidity pool? Probably no one. And the thing is, in this smart contract, there's a function called set governance, and that was changed. And that was changed to set governance to underline a governance to the Unicode token address, and for the data to pass the following function: transfer from John Doe to Unicat's amount 10,000 tokens. And that was in the smart contract. What that means is that even though John managed to withdraw his Uni tokens from the liquidity pool to his own Ethereum wallet address, a few days later, the dev managed to steal all of these tokens from his Ethereum wallet because John initially approved of this smart contract and changed the set governance, giving someone else control over his own Ethereum wallet, making it vulnerable. So this is something you have to keep in mind when interacting with unknown, super new smart contracts, especially if you don't really know if the dev has the investor's best interest in mind. And the thing is, it's not finished there. When the Ethereum wallet has no tokens left, the governance is still set. That means if any other tokens are added to, if any other Uni tokens are added to this Ethereum wallet, then they will also be stolen. So the important message here is the infinite approval does not disappear once you have 0 tokens in your balance. Accounts with infinite approval remain vulnerable as long as the approval has not been revoked or the account is completely abandoned. And this has happened to quite a lot of people that interacted with this Unicat's pool, even after they withdrew the funds and they thought they were safe. And I hope you can take this message, make sure that you only interact with smart contracts that you're aware of, that the devs have your best interest in mind. unaudited smart contracts can definitely pose some really inherent risks, such as changing the governance of your wallet. The Ethereum space is definitely not a safe place. There are a lot of dangers. I highly recommend that you check out the following article on Frontrunners. And the article is called Ethereum as a Dark Forest. The name Dark Forest comes from the book The Dark Forest by 16 Liu, very popular. I'm listening to it at the moment. So let's get back to Frontrunners. What are they? Well, basically they are arbitrage bots scouring the depths of the Ethereum mempool, and these apex predators take in the form of arbitrage bots, and arbitrage bots monitor pending transactions and attempt to exploit profitable opportunities. So these pending transactions waiting to be added into the next block, they're going to have a certain gas fee, and these arbitrage bots say a much higher gas fee in order to put into the block first, exploiting the first transaction's opportunity, leaving the first person that spot these transactions with empty hands. And this is not only for arbitrage opportunities, this could also be with liquidity pools. If 2 or 3 liquidity pools have different exchange ratios, well, these arbitrage bots will spot it. Or if someone spots it, these arbitrage bots will say a much higher gas fee to steal this arbitrage opportunity from the person that spots it. And this paper is talking about a vulnerability that was discovered in a smart contract, and developers want to actually patch this vulnerability. They would have to funnel the funds out of the smart contract and so on. However, they know and are aware that there are arbitrage bots scouring the mempool and waiting for such an opportunity. So the problem is with these developers trying to save this decentralized application, they also have to prevent these Frontrunner bots from taking this opportunity and steal the funds from under their eyes before the transaction can go through. So I highly recommend that you read this article. It's well written, and it gives a very good in-depth explanation of how these Frontrunners work and what kind of challenges developers are facing with smart contracts, especially smart contracts that have a problem in them, and you discover this flaw and you're trying to save it before that the Frontrunner bots discover this opportunity. Super exciting. Now, on the same topic of Frontrunners, I also might make a video of this, and this is just a super great example on how you can detect these Frontrunners in action with a small amount of Ether. You can actually use a small Ethereum smart contract as a honeypot to see the Frontrunners in action. So this is a post that shows how you can actually do it, how you can set up this honeypot contract to see these Frontrunner bots in action. And the basic gist of this is that you're locking up some funds with a password, a super easy password, and the Frontrunner bot will unlock this password in the transaction before you can unlock it. Super fascinating. The whole Frontrunner topic is generally a complicated subject, but I hope that these 2 articles will shed a little bit of light on the topic. Oh, wait a second, before we continue, make sure you check out my Patreon link down below, where you get a lot of juicy updates, information on what's happening, as well as what tokens I'm buying and selling at the moment, and 1 exclusive Patreon video per month, as well as supporting the channel and allowing me to create a lot more content. So make sure to check out the link down below and help me continue making these videos. Band Protocol, a competitor to Chainlink, is doing some fantastic things, and I think you should keep your eyes on them, because bringing real-world data into smart contracts is super important, because it's bread and butter for many decentralized finance applications. And what they've done is they are upgrading their protocol from phase 0 to phase 1, creating a fully decentralized Oracle network with 67 validator nodes for partners to integrate and utilize. Now, what I think is also a good thing is they've lost quite a lot of value, so there might be a good token up for grabs after the recent drop, but not financial advice. Just something they might keep in mind. And talking about oracles, let's go back to the main player, Chainlink, and I think they've got a fantastic thing now. It was actually developed during a hackathon, and Chainlink now lets you control your Tesla car. So I'm still waiting on my Tesla car. The jokes, I haven't ordered one. And this external adapter that allows getting access to Tesla cars and change their state has become available on the Chainlink market. And this would allow for remote car lending services. That means me, maybe from my mobile phone, I could unlock the car and give access to another person so that he could borrow the car for a certain amount of time. The great thing about this, it would allow people to lend their Tesla car to anyone. And the company, Link My Ride, actually developed that during a hackathon and allowed anyone to become their own rental platform, because rental platforms, they generally charge around 30% of the revenue earned, which is definitely a lot. So you can check out the Link My Ride demo. I think it's super interesting and definitely the direction that I think is the future of our economy. Everyone becoming their own company, their own bank in this decentralized world. Last but not least is a chart I'm sure you've seen countless times, and that is the Wall Street cheat sheet psychology of a market cycle, with the disbelief phase, the euphoria phase, goes down to anger and disbelief. And I think a very, very fun adaptation of this chart is by taking the ETH chart and placing it over it, which fits really well. We've got the ICO boom here. We've got the anger phase, the Black Swan event in March, and now we're starting to slowly gain some traction with a lot of new development happening in the future. And I believe that this phase here is now the one that is happening here. So definitely a lot of upwards potential, in my opinion, especially when scaling solutions are solved. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Make sure you hit the like button and also hit the subscribe to get a lot more videos like this. I wish you a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.